Hey everybody, welcome to episode 29 of Podcast Beyond. I am Chris Roper, host of this show here. I'm editor-in-chief of the IGN PlayStation team. With me today are editors Greg Miller.
Hey!
Jeff Haynes.
How's it going?
And Ryan Clements.
Hey.
Who's associate editor?
Yep, that's me.
You're not editor status yet.
Right.
You got to work up that ladder.
Got to work it up.
Do all the shoveling at the bottom there.
The coal into the fire.
Exactly. So let's just get things started with the report.
Time for some news.
All right, wait, this is the wrong sheet. Here we go. All right, here's my handwritten paper. So there's not a whole lot of interesting news this week. Destroy All Human fans that still are playing on their PS2 will be sad that Big Willie Unleashed was canceled. Good news here for gamers. Devil May Cry 4 demo is expected on January 31st. It's a pretty big deal. Bionic Commando Rearmed was announced by Capcom this past week, which is if you guys haven't seen, it's a re-envisioning sort of the original Bionic Commando, which looks pretty rad. You have some new moves you can do in there, like pick up barrels with your arm and throw them at people. Looks pretty awesome. And finally, the yearly hardware sales came in last week for all of 2007. Usually the U.S. sales. Here's my handy-dandy little sheet here. PS3 had a decent year, I guess, but it's still fairly far behind in lifetime sales. PS3 sold 2.56 million systems, and which brings its lifetime total up to 3.25, which is behind the 360's 9 plus and the Wii's 7 plus million.
Real quick, too, there's late breaking news, at least for us, because we were off on Monday. On the blog, they announced that Patapon will release at $19.99.
There you go.
Dude,
Patapon's coming at $19.99.
that is sweet.
That's a good deal.
That is
looks
an
like
awesome
a great
deal. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, the game's pretty cool. So there's all the news.
Yay! A rubber report.
So
Tuesday.
let's get right in on the topic of the week.
Wait, what about... Oh, do we not have a list?
Oh, yeah, we do.
The official IGN list of upcoming PlayStation
That's
software
right.
on all three platforms by the IGN editors is PS3 Burnout Paradise. That was the official list of the official IGN list of upcoming PlayStation software on all three platforms by the IGN editors.
It's a big game, though.
Oh, wait,
It's a
there
huge
was nothing?
game. That was it, man.
It's just Burnout Paradise. So let's go ahead and just get Pick of the Week out of
Pick
the
of
way
the week. Pick of the week.
Pick of the Week, I guess, by default, it's going to be Burnout Paradise.
Yeah, but it deserves it.
It would have won anyway.
Yeah, great game.
Yeah, it's a fantastic game. But, that's the only thing. But, at least it's a good one.
I'm excited.
I didn't even have time to say my song either today.
What?
The song for the list. My little intro
Let's
song.
ignore Ryan.
Okay.
All right, so let's get back on with the previously announced segment of
Topic of the Week.
Toe.
So this week we're going to talk about existing IPs versus brand new ones. We thought about this one because of Bionic Commando Rearmed, and that's a total remake of an existing game. But lots of times we'll see old franchises are brought back, and as opposed to publishers and developers, whatever, going out and creating a brand new IP, something say like Prototype or Infamous or a game like that, which is has a lot of risk involved in it. Although in the cases of games like that, there can be you get a lot of eyes on it because they're interested in what's happening. A lot of people take it safe or play it safe by using taking franchises that have been out forever, using known names and just hashing out another game in there. Koei is very well known for this, obviously, for creating like 25 Dynasty Warriors games or something crazy. Mm-hmm. What do you guys think about existing stuff versus brand new, and where should the focus be nowadays?
I don't mind it when they explore the same universe, like as long as it's not the same characters all the time. I feel like a lot of times we get into sequelitis where they leave stories open all the time and you have to keep coming back to them. I mean, it works sometimes, like in the trilogies or the Ratchet and Clank things, where there are chapters in these characters' lives, but there's a larger overarching thing you're looking for. But sometimes they can just get annoying.
Well, the problem that's happening nowadays is too many people are taking an assumption that they're going to have a trilogy come out,
Yeah.
and so they create this game that has a totally open end, and if the game is good but doesn't sell well, and so there isn't enough of a demand for a sequel, all of a sudden you're stuck with a story that doesn't finish. Mm-hmm. And I mean, you think about the way that movies used to be made that have trilogies back in the day, Indiana Jones or Star Wars or whatever. When the first movies came out, they sort of they leave them open. You can continue with them, and then they turn into these great trilogies.
Yeah.
But the stories were finite. The first Matrix movie was the same way. It has a continuation, but there's a closure to that part of the story. And now there's all these games that are coming out that sort of just leave it wide open for you to keep going. And it's like, well, if we don't see a sequel, then the story is screwed.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of bummed about that direction because you don't part of it is you just spent 10, 15, 20 hours playing through the game and you don't get an actual ending. You get something that kind of leaves off. But also, I mean, if the sequel never comes out, you never know what happens.
Yeah.
And that's kind of crappy, I think.
Yeah, a lot of people decide to just throw so much attention to, we're going to have this great story that'll continue, and that's basically the way that they're trying to sum it up. But if the game tanks because it sucks, or they're throwing so much
if the game
attention
sucks,
into
nobody's gonna care anyway.
Well, right, but the thing is that it seems like it's so obvious that they're throwing so much attention into developing this great storyline, but not necessarily worrying about the mechanics, that everything suffers because of it, and that's when you start running into some of those problems. But one of the other things, just to kind of tie into the whole remake versus original IP, is that you also have people strip mining old franchises or coming up with spiritual sequels. I mean, we saw a little bit of that with BioShock, obvious spiritual sequel to System Shock, which would be an awesome one to go back to. But it's not exactly an original IP. Just one that a lot of people haven't necessarily seen or heard from in a long time. So I think that there's a definite situation where you have either you go back and you try and remake something that was either maybe a classic but could possibly get screwed up because the people that are handling it aren't necessarily doing the best job. You either come up with something completely brand new, or you try and do a spiritual successor BioShock, or you try and strip mine XCOM or some other old franchise like Fallout. Everybody was waiting for Fallout to come back. It's coming back with Bethesda, and that actually looks really good. It looks like it's really going to hold to what they used to do, but in a new way, like the Oblivion engine kind of way. And that actually looks really interesting, but almost like a brand new take on a really old pre-existing franchise.
Well, see, the thing with Fallout, I'm fine with, because the mechanics of the way the whole game is put together are a fair bit different, and it's a franchise everybody loves, and so I'm like, okay, that's cool. Let's do Fallout, and Bethesda's a great developer, so you can trust them with that.
Right.
But that sort of kind of goes back to something I was about to get ready to mention, which, if you look back in the early days of gaming, PC gaming especially, there were hardly any sequels back then. You have one, right? And all of these games came out that were completely original and did things that nobody ever thought of before. Like when Populous came out, it was like, what the hell is this? And that started all the God game type things. You had Pirates come out back in the day. You had you can go down the list. Pretty much every major PC game that you can remember from back in the day are classics and were completely original to the time. XCOM, and nowadays people are just making sequels and taking existing design document basically and saying, we're going to add these couple tweaks to it. You're not getting a whole lot of new innovation these days, and that's kind of unfortunate because, lack of innovation kind of sucks, but it's just people are so dependent on sales, and I mean, it makes sense because these games are so expensive to make, but that you're not getting a whole lot of innovation out of stuff. And I mean, to me, it seems like the most innovation that we're seeing in a lot of cases is coming out of the downloadable arcade games because they're low budget and people can, you can take risks on them, and so you're seeing some kind of new things in there, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, but that kind of harkens back to kind of what you were saying, like the original kind of scale of the PC market. I mean, I don't know if any of you guys remember, especially not Ryan, but I remember picking up games that were in Ziploc bags at computer stores because it was kind of one of those low scale grassroots thing where somebody would come up with a game and there wouldn't be that many copies of it because it was a labor of love. And that's where you're kind of getting that with the downloadable games, where depending upon the studio, you're only getting somebody who's going to dedicate themselves to that one product. It's not going to be a sequel. It's not going to be ruled by some marketing guy or some sales guy going, hey, this is a great idea for a franchise. Let's just stamp something on it and then we'll just mass produce it over and over and over again. It's somebody that's putting in hours and hours and hours of time just on it themselves. I mean, Everyday Shooter was one of those situations. There was one guy, basically in his room, just working on a game.
Flow's the same sort of thing.
Yeah, Flow's the same kind of thing. I mean, there's kind of that basic grassroots, computer standard of gaming that we've kind of missed because the industry has exploded. I mean, I think the sales figures from last year, it was more than $18 billion in video game sales, and that's just initial sales. It's not going over resales back to GameStop or other places or eBay or digital downloads or anything else. That's just straight over the counter, first time sales only, and that's eclipsing. I think that eclipsed the music business a while ago. It's coming to eclipse the movie business now. So I think because the industry has gotten so large and the bottom line now is a lot more on the sales figure as opposed to the creativity, we're running into that.
True that. True everything he said. I think, yeah, I mean, it's way easier to sell a sequel. I mean, flat out. I mean, we all want to be really excited for Infamous, and we've only seen this trailer and we don't know anything about it, but I mean, you show that same amount of when they first showed Metal Gear 4, and that's all anybody could talk about was how awesome Metal Gear 4 looked. And I mean, and it's just because we know there's a history there, the track record of how it's going to play, the crazy story it's going to have, and stuff like that. It was very easy to get excited about and make these leaps of what it's going to be. Whereas a game like Infamous, something brand new, you're like, it looks really cool, but what do I know? And you don't want to get burned, and you don't want to look like an idiot and say it's going to be awesome. Later.
Yeah, but like it kind of also Greg brings up kind of something that you mentioned a few seconds ago, which is that there's certain developers that you can trust, or certain people within the entire situation or the industry that you can trust. Like most Metal Gear fans will trust Kojima, whether it's Zone of the Enders or Metal Gear, doesn't matter. They're going to believe in what they're doing. Same thing with Bethesda. Everybody knows how good the Elder Scrolls series has been, so Fallout, not that much of a stretch. There's certain people that you can give them a sequel. Criterion with Burnout, you can give them a sequel. Doesn't matter what the hell the sequel is, it's going to be a good sequel. Like 9 times out of 10.
Yes. Someone please, Road Rash, who's listening.
I hope.
Despite
really
the fact
pray.
that we're begging for original content, we're saying please bring back Road Rash.
We are begging for sequels of old things. But then, like you wind up running into the other end of the spectrum, like we mentioned before with Koei, where how many times can the Yellow Turbans revolt? How many times can you be Nobunaga and have his ambition to unite Japan?
No. I mean, there's a lot. Natsume with Harvest Moon.
Yes, I mean, how many times can you go through the exact same thing and just farm out like $20 or however many dollars you're going to charge a player for the same damn game with one innovation?
I think what needs to happen is, if you're somebody that follows the industry, you know who developers are, and you say, okay, I know who. Well, 2K Boss now, but Irrational is trustworthy, and
Insomniac,
and all. You see, you can say, okay, hey, Uncharted's a Naughty Dog game. That's going to be good because Naughty Dog's got a great past, right? But if you're somebody that buys 4 or 5 games a year, you're not going to recognize the Naughty Dog name. You're going to go, if somebody tells you, hey, these are the same guys, that did all these other games, you might go, oh, I like those. Okay, but nobody knows that.
Yeah.
And I think that, if you look at the film industry, you know who all these directors are. You can rattle off a name of 50 directors, and 90% of the people you were saying to will have heard of all those guys. You name 50 game studios, they might have heard like 3, and they'll be like, I know who Nintendo is. And so I think that if people can get, if the industry can do a better job of promoting itself and promoting the studios that are making these games and getting them out there as celebrity names, basically, to where you say, I recognize that name, I trust it, and I've liked games in the past by this studio, and now I'm willing to take a $50, $60 risk on this next one because I've liked all their previous work, which is what happens in movies.
Yeah.
Anytime a Spielberg movie comes out, it's huge because it's Steven Spielberg.
Right, but hopefully with this same kind of idea or criteria, the fans also start demanding a little bit more from those studios, because I'm not going to demand anything from BioWare, because I know that those guys are freaking geniuses when it comes to RPGs. They know what they're doing from PC all the way through console. It's not that big a deal. But if I was, for whatever reason, I was a Dynasty Warriors fan, and I know that there's those of you out there. I'm not denigrating you, but I'm just asking. There has to be one point at which you go, I've done this before, and I want something more if I'm going to shell out another $20 or $30 from whatever studio. It's not to say that you can't have a franchise that you're a hardcore fan of, but you kind of want to demand more. I'm a hardcore Madden fan, but I demand more out of my Madden. I really wish that it was there was a lot more.
When you say you
sometimes
demand,
we're not getting it.
When you say demand, do you demand with your dollars? Do you not buy Madden that year?
Sometimes some people decide to do it with their dollars. Sometimes people just flood the message boards. I personally flood the message boards. If it has to be going on EA's boards and starting threads and sending in messages. But you still buy the game then. So they're because it's the only football game out there. That's the problem.
So they're getting your money.
Yeah, that's the problem, is that's the only football game out there. Although depending upon what it is, sometimes I go away from Madden and I go for NCAA. And I know it's the same house, it's basically the exact same thing, but the college games seem to be innovating at times a lot more than Madden has.
Yeah.
So that's where I'd go over the entire situation. When 2K was still around, it was usually 2K over Madden, because there were moments where Madden wasn't innovating to the point where I wished it to be.
Yeah.
But if I'm not getting it, or if any fan doesn't feel like they're getting what they deserve, send in a message, send in an email, get a petition.
This is one of those things I don't practice what I preach at all, because I used to be. I used to buy before I got them for free and played here the SmackDown games. I mean, I'd buy every SmackDown game, and then I'd piss and moan about what they didn't change or what they could have done or how they took this match type out or whatever. And the problem is that I think that we are, as video game players, are all addicted to certain franchises and stuff that we're going to buy no matter what, or genres or whatnot. And I think that to see change, we have to try to hold back and make these changes.
Well, yeah,
because it's a free market. You have to, if a game keeps selling and they're not doing anything, then they're going to keep doing it.
You can hold back your dollars, but there are some developers that actually will read the message boards, read your posts,
THQ
everything
really
else.
good about that. THQ is really good about that.
Did you ever send in an email to them about?
Oh yeah, I sent. All over the message boards, and don't get me wrong, they're excellent usually about taking this and doing that, but no one's ever happy 100% with a game. So it's one of those things.
Oh yeah, they're going to look at the laundry list, but part of it is definitely getting everybody involved. If they don't find something, whether it's a remake or an original IP that they like, that happens to be serialized, they have to basically either vote with their dollars or say something on the message board. Get involved, people.
Ryan, do you have anything at all to say during this?
I have plenty to say. I can't get a word over Chatterbox Jeff over
I'm giving
here.
it to you now.
Chatterbox
Say something.
Jeff.
And he's throwing stuff. He's violent also.
Damn straight.
I think the one thing we didn't really cover is the fact that certain studios, when they make sequels, the thing that they do get a chance to do is practice and start to develop their own sort of method of doing things and improve upon their own formula. So, for example, if it's a studio that doesn't have a lot of experience or a high pedigree for something, and they make a game, and it's fair, but they don't do a great job. Sequels allow them to continue evolving their process and to nurture something that they may have had a good idea for, and they get to smooth out all the technical errors and stuff like that. So that's one good thing about sequels. But I agree with you guys. I'd still like to see. I think the downloadable content's really good because we get smaller games that have less of a budget, as you said. That we get like, for example, there's an XBLA game eventually coming out, like Schizoid. Is that the name of it?
There is a game called Schizoid, yeah.
I think that's what I'm thinking of. That looked really cool. I don't know how far out it is, but that's like pretty original for a dual stick shooter. Well, it's not really a shooter because you move things around, but it should be really neat. And that's an original idea, which I'd like to see. So that's an example.
All right, I think we've beat that to death. Let's
die.
Let's go on to
Let's die.
Mail call.
Milk hole!
Milk.
Mail room!
What the hell?
Mail room.
Train mail.
Anthem wants to know if we could only choose one PlayStation game to play in all of 2008, which would each of you choose and why?
Is he new stuff coming up or old stuff?
Haven't we already answered this one?
It sounds like we answered this one, but let's do it again.
Metal Gear. No, I'll go Infamous because I'm excited to see what that one's going to be like.
Ryan, real fast.
God,
I think we did answer this one before.
Yeah. I just said Little Big Planet last time.
All right, good. And I'm going to say Gran Turismo again.
Metal
and he's gonna say,
Gear.
okay, there we go. Yeah, we did that one again.
Yeah.
Okay, I like this one a lot. Combat Wombat 2000 wants to know, what is your zombie survival plan?
Oh, excellent question.
That is an
for
excellent
everybody?
question.
This is it just says, what is your
I will
zombie?
have you know, Combat Wombat, that I am a very fierce zombie fan, favorite genre movies, and I refuse to divulge my current zombie plan to anyone, for fear that it will be like in the original Dawn of the Dead, and if I told one of you would remember and come to where I was hiding. Usually it involves barricading myself into one place. I feel that would be the best strategy. The people who try to go out and fight, if we're dealing with Ramiro shambling zombies, first off, we're going to win that one. I don't like the ones where they show us losing that fight. We're going to win that one. If you're dealing that one, okay, being on the move wouldn't be too bad.
With the exception of Land of the Dead, where they start becoming sentient.
True. Yeah, well, that was very upsetting to me. But anyways...
that was very upsetting to me.
They're communicating.
I'm going to go on that tangent real quick. My problem with that one was that Ramiro gave the Dawn of the Dead remake so much crap for having runny zombies. And he's like, they're dead. Why would they walk like that? And then he's like, oh, well, they're going to learn now. What? Shut up, George Romero, you jerk. Back to where I was going, though. Anyways, yeah, so I have a plan for every building I'm in, and usually it just involves barricading myself in one place with one point of entry. A lot of people get into this where they want a backdoor to get out of. That's just two things to barricade. Don't be stupid.
I think I'm not going for a barricade so much as I'm driving off into the middle of nowhere.
Oh.
Because if you barricade yourself inside of a building or whatever, that means you're stuck there forever.
One way in, one way out.
Well, you can't really leave. You don't have anywhere to go.
But
if you drive off into the middle of the country and you have, you set up your security system there or whatever, how many zombies are going to make their way to you? So you're not going to be surrounded by 1,000 at the same time.
True.
And you have the environment. You can now, you can go, find a stream to get some water. You can go eat some greens. You can live off the greens.
Yeah, that's definitely true.
Well, the easiest thing is, remember, if you get into the situation and you do barricade yourself in, immediately run to any faucet and stop up the plug and make a basin of water as fast as you can.
This is true.
Everything you can do.
Yeah.
I'm also a fierce zombie fan as well. I have to throw that out there.
See,
and
I
I read the zombie survival guide,
Yeah,
and
me
it was
too.
not only hilarious, but it was awesome.
I
and
have it
very
at my
good. I
desk.
seemed to have a lot of very interesting
I
points.
want to see that. I've never seen it at your desk
It's
before.
awesome, and you just isolate exactly where the key stores are: food stores, gun stores, or hunting stores with ammo, and exit pathways.
Okay, HB Guy 311 wants to know, how did Super Mario Galaxy win Game of the Year when no one on the PS3 team had it in their top 10?
Funny story. Even though we're the best team, we're not the only team.
Yes.
So we didn't
It-
just vote on Game of the Year.
It is amazing that the
Incredible.
IGN has more channels besides just the PlayStation channels. Yeah, I mean, it's basically, there's a whole bunch of, I don't know how many, 20,
There are
30
a lot of
people,
people.
40, I have no idea what the
Yeah.
total count is, but
it
there's
was
a lot
30
of,
something, I think.
yeah, 30
Jeremy
some odd
said.
people voting, and, so there's 4 of us here.
Yeah.
Um,
I didn't vote for it. I don't know what you guys
No,
did.
none of us
like,
voted for Game of the Year.
Yeah, so I mean,
Wasn't really even on my list yet at all.
yeah,
I
just
didn't
remember
really
there's
like
a lot
it.
of other people here besides the 4 of us.
Yep. And they're dumb.
Incredible.
Everybody else is dumb.
I Mackin would like to know, what's
I'm
the
Mackin.
worst game you guys have ever had to play for review?
Ooh.
Spider-Man 3 PS2. I gave it a 3.5. Bad.
The worst game I've ever played was Beyblade for the PlayStation.
Oh, yeah.
Which was,
I remember you telling us about.
look this one up, BEYBLADE, all one word. It's basically it's a spinning top simulator. You just control your top spinning and try to knock the other top out of the arena. I gave that one a 1.5. That
Nice.
was a good one.
Yeah.
Ryan, you haven't been here that long, but what's the worst game you've reviewed?
Yeah, so far it's Metropolis Mania 2 at a 2.1 for me, which is pretty low.
God, I've had a couple, but I think like one of the ones that really stands out was Reservoir Dogs, which was just really bad.
No.
The
That was
fan
atrocious.
says he knows that I am a big racing fan, and
You
so
are.
he was hoping to tell me, or he's hoping I could tell him, which was the franchise that I think was going to be best this gen. It's going to be the same answer I'd give last gen. It's going to be Burnout and Gran Turismo, I think. I don't know of any racing game that can top those. I mean, MotorStorm, we'll see. It was a first good showing. We'll see what MotorStorm 2 could bring. That could rise up in the ranks, but
I'm glad they're still putting on tracks for that too. On a side note, that's really nice.
They're
to
doing a
see.
pretty good job of supporting that. But I mean, for my money, it's Burnout and Gran Turismo. You get best of both ends of the spectrum. Pseudo Prime 1979 says, when do we get the DualShock 3 here in the U.S.? How does it compare to the 360 controller in terms of quality, comfort, battery, etc.? Well, it's coming out here in the spring sometime. I don't think there's a specific release date for it yet. But I mean, in terms of comfort and quality, it's exactly the same as the 6-axis. So if you're playing with that already, or the DualShock 2 or whatever, it feels exactly the same, except that it's a fair bit heavier. It's a lot heavier
Yeah,
than the
it feels like an old DualShock.
yeah, well, it's heavier than that. It's the heaviest. It's the heaviest of the shock controllers.
Well, it's not that heavy. Don't make it sound like you're
I mean,
lugging
it's-
around this lead weight.
No, but it's not a brick, but it feels very solid.
Right,
Like
yeah.
I love
it. No,
yeah, the weight's
totally.
fantastic. I mean, so in terms of comfort and quality, you've already got that. You know exactly how it feels.
My question: have you noticed? This is my big gripe with the 6-axis is that when they put the R2 and L2 triggers on it, right? How they push kind of down, like they come down at an angle. You know what I mean? And like where the old DualShocks came straight in, these ones go down at an angle. I've noticed that on my DualShock 3, I don't complain about it as much. So I don't know if it's changed at all. I've never actually.
I think it's
bothered to
because
test.
they redesigned part of the triggers,
Did
so
they?
that
All right,
they're,
good.
they're
I
a little
hated
bit
that
easier.
because it never felt right, and it would like throw my fingers off when I tried to push in, and they would have to go down.
Yeah, you almost felt like you had to push farther just
Yeah,
to actually get a
exactly,
response.
exactly.
Yeah.
I
There's a
don't
little
think
more
I complain.
response.
As for battery life, I mean,
I thought it was real. I took
They're
it
really good.
I took it home
Yeah.
this weekend and played a lot with it, and I didn't charge it at all.
Yeah.
so that
I
was
couldn't
fine.
tell you because mine broke from Japan.
What?
what
It
happened
was
to it?
broken out of the box.
Who threw
Oh,
yours?
didn't work.
Who threw yours? Somebody threw. Hillary threw it, right?
Yeah.
Oh, did
probably.
he? Is that what happened?
Yeah.
Oh, he broke my controller.
You knew that. You were there.
Yeah, you saw that.
You
I wasn't
commented
there.
on it. It
yeah.
was when me and Jeff were
we
taking
were
pictures.
taking them in, yeah.
And Hillary tossed it. And
No,
then you said,
I
Did you give me
heard
the
it
toss
like
one?
from like. Didn't I hear it from like?
Yeah, but I'm
the-
saying you
on the
knew.
office?
But you knew.
the
I just forgot
situation.
about it.
Yeah.
That's why. You can go blame when we're out of this.
Rogue Leader wants to know.
Stay on target.
He says, do we think that, given the very ambitious plan that Insomniac has for Resistance 2, can they really make an 08 release? Yes.
Yes.
I mean, you remember they had Resistance 1 was very ambitious for a system launch. It had consider the amount of online stuff that was in there at the launch of the PS3. I mean, it blows away. Most games are still on the system, and and also Insomniac works very, very, very quickly. Just look at any of their past releases and how quick they can turn out, their Ratchet games and whatever else. They're very fast, and they've been working on Resistance 2 for a while now, so it will come out this year.
Yep.
Dr. Danger said, how's Greg doing on his PS3 funds?
I bought it last week. We're done. That was quick, huh?
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you.
He's got it. And then he also wants to know, DMC4 has him thinking, how do we feel about collector's editions of games? Is it worth our extra cash?
That's actually a good topic.
It is a pretty good topic.
Maybe next week's topic.
Maybe.
Sit on
I mean, real quick, I think it depends on how much you like the game, and in a lot of cases it's easier to do it if it's a franchise, and how much what content's on there. I mean, I love the making of documentary type stuff, especially if it's lengthy and it shows you all through the design process, and gives you behind the scenes look at people ripping each other's throats out right before like a big push, and so I think all that's pretty cool. Art books I'm only so on, and soundtrack.
I've seen so many terrible collector's editions.
Yeah, there's some really
It's
bad
like,
ones.
Don't even bother.
Yeah, but there are some good ones.
Do your research.
Yeah. Combat Wombat also has a question. Says, I meant to bring this up with the DualShock one, but he says, what possible reason can Sony have for not releasing the DualShock 3 in the U.S. at the same time as Japan? I think it's just got to be manufacturing numbers.
Yeah.
But then also, it's software support. I think it's possible, I don't know this for sure, but it's possible that the U.S. would expect a lot more support out of it right out of the box, and that they want to make sure that, that all these games have patches available for them, and that there's all these games that come out that really show off how the system works, or how the controller works, and all that kind of stuff. So, they just basically want to make sure they're ready to go as far as terms of hardware and software goes. So, Agent Trav says somebody shoot Jeff and make Blognack eat his body.
Go to hell, Agent Trav.
GMace86 says, why do Jeff and Roper not participate in editor beatdown? Are they scared? Jeff is scared, but for myself, I have I've got a 2-month-old kid at home who has colic, who cries almost constantly between 8 and about midnight every night. So, yeah, I'm not so much participating. I'm trying to keep a baby from crying constantly.
Yeah, the reason why I'm not participating is because I'm usually in traffic trying to get home between the time that the editor beatdown goes on.
Not a good excuse. You could just stay in the office like Greg
Shut
and
up,
I do.
noob.
Be owned. That was the end of Reader Mail.
Reader Mail!
Mail call?
Rest in peace, mail call!
I just threw in my programming notes. Where the hell did they go? Here. Give me the. Yeah. I just threw them away.
Break in case of emergency. Break glass.
Let's see. We already picked the week. I don't feel like going around the room. We did that last week. Let's skip on to the editor beatdown.
Oh no. We don't really have, we can't do one tonight because Greg has tonight would be the only available night, and I think I might be a little too busy for that also, so we'll have to wait for next week.
No editor
I'll
beatdown
probably
this
be playing
week.
Warhawk tonight if anybody wants to get
Ryan,
in.
please announce that there's no editor beatdown this week in the editor beatdown voice.
There is no editor beatdown this week. I'm sorry.
Very good.
I'll play Warhawk tonight if you want to come find me.
You can maybe find Greg on Warhawk.
Just look for his gamer tag.
Yep.
Or what?
Game over, Greggy.
Yeah. And I think that brings us to the end of
I had a
episode
bunch of people
29.
find me this weekend. A lot of people jumped in.
Oh, there are a couple programming notes. Okay, Ryan has a programming note.
Yeah, this is going to sound kind of random, but someone contacted me a few weeks ago from like a band. I think they were called like the Sons of Liberty or something, and they had a PlayStation song. They basically did just a cover of the Metal Gear theme in like a kind of punk rock style. And it was pretty rad, and I listened to it. And then I thought, hey, if you have like bands that just like or garage band or like an indie band or something that you guys want to send in some PlayStation related tunes for or something, I'd be happy to put them in the podcast somewhere like at the beginning before we get started. You just send me info or post on the message boards or like show us your MySpace page or something, and we'll talk it out.
We'll work out the inclusion later on because there might be we don't want to promise a 5-minute slot to.
Oh no, I mean it might very well just be like a 15-second clip.
Yeah,
but if it's a short song or something,
we can
that we
do
can
some
put
plugs.
in there. Yeah.
But it's got to be good. We're not just posting anybody.
Right. I will screen everything.
The other there was one other piece of reader mail that we got from a couple of people actually that I wanted to answer here. Was a lot of people were wondering why Podcast Beyond is only about half an hour and 40 minutes every week and not as long as some of the other shows on IGN, which most of them are over an hour. And I got to tell you, for our reason is that we like to keep it quick and condensed. We like to give you the 30-minute. Here's all the good stuff and cut out all the crap, basically. The original shows we were going on for an hour and we were just babbling on and not really saying a whole lot of stuff. And there's some good stuff in there, but we're going to give you all of the good stuff in half an hour. Cut all of the crap. You're going to get the best of it, and save you some time so you can listen to some more of our other shows.
Word.
So
get on with your life, loser.
Yeah. I mean, we could extend it to be an hour long. But we're not going to say anything else, so we're just going to be doing a lot of crap. So
we should really touch on the games we're looking forward to in 08.
Yeah, we should probably do that.
Well, there's one other really quick thing, which is kind of related to the MLB interview that we did like a week or so ago. One of the guys, I believe it was Little Ronan, Greg's favorite, asked about custom soundtracks, and you can get custom soundtracks in the game. You can't actually get them while you're playing the game, as far as I've seen. But then again, the build that I have is really, really buggy, really, really early preview code.
Is there music though in the game?
There are 11 bass tracks, and then you can import basically anything that you happen to have on your PS3
You're talking about
hard
it in the
drive.
menus and stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you
But
can.
you wouldn't want it in game, right? Because I mean, it's like commentary and ambient noise.
Well,
Right?
it's commentary, but usually you can assign a different style of music to a batter when they walk up.
Oh, okay.
And so if you could, I'm not sure if you can actually have it with your creative players or other players, but you can import just about any song that you have on your hard drive as long as you've got basic track information for it.
Michael Bolton tracks and not supported. Okay, that brings us to the end of the show. Do we have a song this week?
We do have a song this
yeah.
week.
It's a special one.
This is a special one. Agent Trav's birthday is tomorrow, and I decided to serenade him because he requested it. As you may remember, Agent Trav sprung to beyond glory when he became the first and only beyond annoying person ever to be announced.
And keeps trying to hold down the title.
He attacks a lot of people, but I think it's all in good fun, and I love him.
Lamer.
So I thought I wrote. He wanted "Total Eclipse of the Heart" by Bonnie Tyler, and that's what he's gonna get. Turn around, every now and then I get a little bit lonely when you're talking crap on the boards. Turn around, every now and then I get a little bit nervous when I think the best of Beyond's gone by. Turn around, every now and then I get a little bit terrified, and then I see the look in Agent Trav eyes. Turn around, bright eyes, every now and then I fall apart, and I need you now, Beyond. I freaking need you more than ever. Once upon a time, I hated Trav's guts, but now I'm singing him this song. There's nothing I can do, a total eclipse of the heart.
That's the end of the
Happy
show.
birthday, Agent
Wow.
Trav.
Happy birthday, Agent Trav. How old, did
Happy
he say how old he
birthday.
is?
He didn't. I thought he was 23, but then I finally reread it and saw that it's 23rd. Is
He's
his birthday.
58.
Probably. He still wants me to come to St. Petersburg, Florida, and sing Rock Band with him.
Well, happy birthday, Agent Trav.
All right, that's the end of the show. We'll see you guys next week.
That's the end of the show.
What the
That's
hell?
a new one. Oh, God. No more. All right. Peace out.